Boys, we have an issue. I'm not just talking you and I. Society has an issue, and we are part of it. Our success as men is dependent on a factor called masculinity. And I'm sure you've heard all the gurus talking about it, but seriously, we are hurting because we're missing key factors. So I sat down and I asked myself, what are we missing? What has been falling and degrading in our society? And what can we do about it? So I'm gonna get straight into it. The first factor, in my opinion, is the lack of competition. You hear nowadays, oh, let's not compete. Oh, just compete against yourself. Just try to be a better version of yourself every day. Don't worry about anyone else. To be honest, that's total BS. As men, we are designed to compete against, other caveman for the kill, or against each other all the way up through our evolution to achieve greater good. When we stop competing against each other, that's when society comes to a halt. Because nobody feels like progress has to go past a certain point. Nobody wants to innovate, nobody wants to discover, nobody wants to put their foot down and stand against other people in the face of adversity and change. I played football in high school, right? I lifted, I worked out with the boys, and we practiced every day. And I missed that feeling of being able to compete. Because after football, what I would do once the season ended is I'd just kind of chill out. Like I'd just, sit around, play video games with the boys, and then just kind of stop the progress I had on my body and on my mind. And I wasn't challenged to endure all that extracurricular on top of school, and I wasn't challenged to keep my body in peak shape. I lacked that relentless pursuit towards something greater. And when I lost that challenge, I stopped becoming myself. So on the first point, competition is not bad. It challenges us and it makes us better, especially competition against other people in the right ways. Number two, failing to continue your growth. And this kind of goes into the point I just made, settling when you think you are done. Because honestly, you're never done. You see, I took a year off from college and I was in a relationship with this girl, we'll call her Brooke. And to be honest, most of the time I just kind of felt disgusting. I felt sick with myself. Why? Not because the relationship was really bad or anything, just because when I was with her, I decided to be complacent. I wanted to be that stay-at-home boyfriend that would just, support her and wouldn't have anything going for myself. The problem is women like to make men complacent. That's kind of their duty. They want them to settle in and become, homebodies. And there's nothing wrong with that. But you need to start doing that at a later point in your life when you've achieved and when you've done things. You need to earn something for yourself first. Otherwise, you just feel like you've earned something that you didn't. Complacency is one of man's greatest killers, and you need to avoid it at all costs. Number three, engaging in masturbation or prawn. So you hear studies all over. There's so many benefits to prawn. It helps you prevent prostate cancer. So there's studies on both sides, right? And you can look into them on your own, but I'm gonna tell you, I've looked on both sides of it. I've studied both communities, those that say it's really healthy to release, and communities that are very involved in NoFap and tell you to withhold your energy. To be honest, there's benefits to both, and I'm not gonna lie. But the problem is when you do it to prawn, it all goes back into the mindset. When you know you're in control of your body and you can choose when you set yourself up for a position to actually release and let go of that energy, then you are in control more than ever. And what that does is it takes your confidence to a whole new level. You become a whole new version of yourself. And it's not necessarily that the energy inside you is what makes you succeed from what I've found. It's that the confidence of knowing that you have control over yourself leads you to better pursuit in all of your goals. So regardless of the science, the mindset cannot be changed. And that's why, to be honest, I feel like you need to do this. So yes, I've studied both sides. Obviously, I've done it in the past, but you have to be part of this community. All right, number four, not having a purpose or focus. This can kind of direct a lot of the other points I've made so far. I think of it like gravity, right? Planets are attracted to the sun. The sun has this gravitational pull that just centers the universe. That is your purpose. To be honest, the purpose doesn't really matter. Let's say you want to work for a charity and save 100 puppies a week, or you want to fund $1 million company. Either way, if you commit yourself to that purpose, you will be seen as a higher being. And it's like a weird kind of energy that's just about you. But women can pick up on that. They're programmed to do that. Not only that, but when you have a focus, you don't care as much too. Women are like the icing on the cake. They're the reward for staying focused on their purpose. And to be honest, it's not something you achieve and then you get a girl or anything like that. Women can really help you toward your focus, but you need to find the right one. And it should never be your focus to just find some sort of partner first before you do anything else. That's why in one aspect, I kind of feel bad for the high school sweethearts, because they never had the chance to be separate and go their own way and build first and then come back to that person. If they take a break or they have enough space, it can work, but it's really hard to do it the other way. All right, finally, number 5. Allowing other people's judgments to impact you. You know, this is one of those things like you hear all the time, like don't let others get to you, or like stay in your own mind, don't get impacted by others. But seriously, it's a big thing, especially now in the age of technology. You know, there's movements to like keep kids off social media until they're in 8th grade now, because it's so manipulative to these young kids that just find it hard to not be judged by others when they see girls or guys their age getting like complimented for their bodies already, and they're like, wow, is this something I need to work on already and I'm just a kid still, or I need to achieve this as a kid. It just stresses them out before they can even, you know, start their own race. When I was in high school, like I was kind of worried about just, you know, doing what I want, because I knew my town was small and everyone was on social media. So I was like worried that other people's judgments were gonna like come back to haunt me, or that I was living off these other people's like intentions for me. So I think more often than not, there's like this high school effect where we like feel like everyone is watching us, or we're in the spotlight. We're the main character, right? And then everyone is like judging our actions under a microscope. And if we try to do something new or do something too different from who we already are, we're gonna get severely judged for it, and it's scary. Frankly, nobody like cares about what you're doing. Everyone has their own life to worry about. And you hear that a lot too, but it's seriously true. If you go up and go into a mall, you might feel like everyone's like staring at you when you walk in, but to be honest, people are just genuinely looking around. People have their own things going on. They're spending time with their families. Nobody's actually like paying you that much attention. And when you can get over that fear of feeling like you're in the spotlight, then you can do whatever you want. When you feel like you aren't judged, your potential is not put in a box of this is who you are. You can explore the bounds of that box, and you can reinvent yourself to somebody that you actually want to be, not somebody you feel like you're pressured into being from a kid. To be honest, I really agree with keeping kids off social media until they're older, because I just think that like they feel like they have to be trapped in these standards that aren't realistic and aren't really fitting for them, and they don't really know what actually fits them. They just see what society has already programmed kids their age to want to have to do. All right, we've defined the 5 main problems with masculinity. And to be honest, it's a lot more than that. Remember, masculinity is not like a cliche term for progress. Instead, it's a mindset, and it determines everything that you do. You can put yourself on autopilot and you can become masculine by setting the tone in your mind and practicing it. And then everything else will just follow. It's like kind of hot wiring a car, right? Like once the switch is flipped in your mind and you know how to actually engage in those techniques, the rest of your behavior will follow, and it gets so much easier to find success in dating, in life, in all of that because of that. With that said, you know who it is. I'll see you next time.